What is up, family? Hey, it is great to see you for another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, your host and international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker. Now, guys, guess what? I'm pumped up. Yeah, I know, I say that every week, but I really am because the guests that I bring are fantastic guests, and I want to show that each and every person out there goes through something. And so I ask you if you would please, please, please share this episode out. Invite all kinds of people to watch it. Don't forget to give us all kinds of likes and keep the comments coming because we want to have more of a conversation instead of making just a presentation. But with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Karen Smith.
Well, hello, Jeff.
Hello, how are you, Karen?
Doing great, thank you.
I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you so much for being here this evening. And I hope everybody out there appreciates you as much as I do.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. So, if you would like to go through a short introduction about yourself, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do, I'm going to try to invite a few people on my phone. So, if it looks like I'm not paying attention, I am. I'm just doing something at the same time.
Sounds great.
Cool.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Karen Smith. I am a chiropractor in Iowa. Um, I am also a health coach and a mind body coach.
Wow. That's really cool. So, did your did the chiropractor lead to the health and wellness coach as you were just talking a little bit?
Yes, it did. Yep. In the last couple of years, I become certified in the wellness coaching as well as the mind body coach. And I'm also a leadership coach through John Maxwell. So,
Well, that's awesome. I have to say so myself. I
well,
find
thank you.
that to be very admirable that you would take the necessary steps to try and combine all that stuff to end up helping people in a massive way instead of just a small way.
I wanted to reach more people versus just, seeing 30 to 50 people in my office a day. And I thought the best way to do that was to be able to do it remote. So,
Yeah, because 30 to 50 people definitely isn't enough. That was sarcasm.
I'm
Yeah,
kind of used to it by now. I'm not the sarcasm. I'm used to used to seeing 30 to 50 people.
that's crazy. Wow. And I don't know how you do that in one day. That's a lot.
It can be challenging sometimes, but it brings me joy. So,
Well, that is good. I'm so glad to hear that as well. So, I personally know because of when I was 17, I was involved in a very serious car accident. I spent 2.5 months in a coma, 3.5 in the hospital, and they told me I probably wouldn't walk again. And once I got out of the hospital, I started to notice that people all were going through something. Yes, on social media, they kind of show the good in life. They kind of show like a highlight reel, but you don't understand that everybody is going through something. Some people's pain is just a little more evident than other people's. And I'd read up on your story a little bit, and your story seemed to have some rough beginnings.
mhm.
If you could run through your story a little bit, tell everybody about how it is so they can see that how your story begins doesn't determine your future.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I'm the youngest out of 10. We grew up on a farm. My father was a farmer his entire life, and we didn't have a lot of money. When I was 8 years old, my mother passed away from cancer, and uh, so it was just my sister Joanne on down. So there were six of us that were still left at home. She was only 18, had just graduated from high school, and took care of us younger kids. Um, but when I was 13, she moved out, and I started taking care of the household, doing.
At 13?
Yep. Um,
Wow,
my
guys.
father got remarried, but they didn't live together until I graduated high school. So
Wow. That's a lot for a 13-year-old to have to take on. I find that to be admirable as well, because if I had to take something like that on at the age of 13, it would not happen.
I think you just do it. You don't think about it. It's something that needed to be done. And I'm just thankful that dad didn't give us up. He kept us all together and kept us in the household. And um, yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
I want to say that is fantastic of your father doing
I
such a
see.
thing. So, with those rough beginnings and having to take care of your siblings, how exactly did that affect you? I mean, did you have to learn new things? Did you have to go out on a limb? How did that affect you?
Well, I think it makes you grow up a lot faster. And the important things, the small things that a lot of people stress about, you didn't have time to stress about because you were busy doing the things that needed to be done on the farm. As far as like how it affected me, I think I grew up with fear. Fear that I would lose everybody that I loved, because with losing mom, that's a very traumatic thing, especially for a girl. For a boy, it's traumatic as well, but for a girl, you need your mama to be able to guide you into how to be a strong woman and how to be a strong person. And I'm just very thankful I had four older sisters that took me under their wing, and they were always there for me, and five older brothers. So
Well, it sounded like you were there for them as well. So be proud of yourself for that.
sure, absolutely.
But how did growing up or having to grow up fast, how did that affect you later in life? I mean, did that affect relationships and other things?
If you ask my husband, I'm sure he would say that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's I've become a very independent person. Anything that I want to achieve, I really go after, and I don't stop until I accomplish it. And I think that it's made me a very goal driven person. Um, I'm writing a book. Actually, I'm writing a chapter in a book with Kate Butler that'll be
Wow.
released in February. Yeah, and
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. And in that chapter, I talk a little bit about how fear affected me growing up, and how it, number one, health wise, number two, how it affected me as a mom, um, how I raised my children to be fearful basically of everything because I was fearful of everything. And, if there was one thing that I would probably want to turn back the time and change, it would be that.
Yeah. Now, would if you could change the past, would you go back and say, I don't want to go through this, or would you relive everything again?
I'd relive everything again.
And why is that?
It made me who I am. I mean, it made me a very strong person. I'm very I love people. I love relationships. Um, I'm really close to I don't want to say old women, but women who are older than I am, because I formed that bond with them. I think that I missed growing up. Um, I really truly believe. I don't know if you've heard the saying goes something like iron sharpens iron. The things that you go through make you a very strong individual. And that's the way diamonds are created, right?
Yeah, definitely. Under pressure.
Absolutely.
That's a great song too. Under pressure.
Well, and I truly believe that God gives you what you can handle. There's a purpose and a reason for everything, and I truly believe that if you look at the bright side and you change your mindset, um, you can go through the hard times. They suck,
Yeah.
they're hard, um, but at the end of the day, we're all on a journey, right? And it depends on, I don't know if you ever read the book, but road less traveled. Where in that why, where are you going to take? Are you going to take the hard way, or are you going to take the easy way? And in my opinion, the hard way sometimes the better way, because you learn those life lessons along the way.
Exactly. So I want to take a second here and say hello to my dad who is watching, to Ben Bruce who is watching from Lagos, Nigeria, and
Fantastic.
then Adam who is watching from the United Kingdom or England if you want to be specific. And then we have Casey who says that she lost her mom to cancer when she was 29 as well. So a lot of people can relate to that because I know I've heard it said that if you live long enough, you're going to have cancer at some point.
Yeah, it's
And
sad.
it's just a matter of when, not if.
I think there are things that you can minimize the risks, but I would agree with that. You may not have cancer, but you're going to have some kind of disability, disabling um, disease or illness.
Yeah. And then we have Adam in the comments saying, I love you too, Dr. Karen. Let's spread love throughout the world. Always look on the bright side of life. So
Amen.
I find that to be really cool. I appreciate people saying things like that. And I I don't know, that just it brightens my day when other people want to also spread kindness, spread love in the world, because I think that is what the world is missing.
Yeah, it's what we need.
So you were talking a little bit about the wire in the road, and
Mhm.
you said that the hard way often leads to lessons that you won't learn on the easier way. So, what lessons did you learn, and how can those lessons help somebody else?
I would say one of the primary lessons I learned, and it wasn't necessarily when I was a kid, it was more when I became an adult and had my children, is you can't always protect them. And when you do protect them, they don't learn the life skills that they should learn, right? Because you're bailing them out, and um, you're putting this cover around them to be able to isolate them, if you will, from bad things. And as I got older, and as my children got older, actually, it was my youngest son that told me, "Mom, you can't protect me from everything. Like, I need to spread my wings. I need to grow to be a man." And I never really got that when they were little, because I was just so scared all the time that, if they go out and they play outside, that holy crap, something could happen to them, right? Or if I let them go to a friend's house, what if they didn't come back home? And um, yeah, that's one of the hardest lessons I probably have learned. The other lesson is you don't always get what you want, right?
You get what you need.
You get what you need. And
Yeah.
it's true.
So that is really great. But how let's let's think here for a minute. So how can somebody not be afraid at all times?
Well, I'm a person of faith. And so I've realized that I have to let go and let God. that we all have our journey in life that He has designed for us. And, um, uh, being afraid is not a terrible thing, but it can lead to health issues. Sometimes fear is a good thing because it stops you from doing stupid things or getting hurt. But sometimes fear can be a very debilitating thing as well. It can stop your growth. So
Yeah.
how can others live a life daily without fear? I don't know if that exists. I think everybody at one point or another are going to be fearful about something.
So there's a saying, feel the fear and do it anyways.
Oh, sure.
Is that something that you would suggest to people that are fearful about a lot of things, or
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, fear is not always a bad thing. Trudging forward, maybe writing down your lists of, the good and the bad of, if I did this, this is the result I'm going to get, or if I did this, that's the result I'm going to get, and base it upon, you know, uh, base it upon what you think is going to better your life or enhance your life.
yeah. Now, bettering your life or enhancing your life can be a matter of opinion. Um, what is you are you saying to that person, if it betters your life, then go for it? Or are you saying, if I don't know what I'm trying to ask right now, but it sounded good in the moment, it just didn't come out right.
All good. I'm saying, you can't. I guess what I'm trying to say is, trudge forward. Take chances. But obviously, don't take chances that are going to hurt you physically, or, But a lot of people are afraid to even try new things because they're afraid of what the outcome is going to be. Not everything's going to be a bad outcome. Not everything's going to be a good outcome, but you're never going to know if you don't try. And I'll give you an example of that, actually. I had a smoothie bar in my chiropractic office.
Woo!
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Um, However, I didn't make any money.
Aw.
And so I shut it down after a year. And my dad came to me one day and he said, "Well, I could have told you that wasn't going to work." And I said, "Dad, if I didn't try it, how would I ever know?" Right. And so I guess that's one of the lessons I've taken away from as I've aged is, just try new things. Just try them. And if you don't like them, you can always reroute and redo.
All right. So we actually have a question here from Ben Bruce, who said, "You said that fear sometimes is a good thing. Can you explain that a little further?"
Absolutely. So fear can be a good thing because um, it's going to protect you to a certain extent. So you're fearful for a reason, right? You're fearful because it can either you're fearful because you don't know what the outcome is going to be or what the future is going to hold. But you also can be fearful from. Um, so, for example, let's say you walk into a gas station and the hairs go up on the back of your neck, and you become fearful. To me, that's an energetic thing. That to me, that means that there's something around you that maybe is not going to turn out good, right? So if you notice that fear coming up at that point in time, that can be a good thing because it gets you out of harm's way. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
it does to me. Ben Bruce, let us know if that makes sense. And if not, we'll try to explain it in some other way. But so, do you have any tips for other people that might be going through something different, similar, or the exact same? I know that's kind of a broad question, but
Sure. Do you mean now or do you mean when I was a child?
either, however you want to take that question, is the way it's supposed to be taken.
Perfect. I would say, as a child, losing my mother, um, I wish we knew about therapy back then. Because, back 40 years ago, 45 years ago, there really wasn't such a thing talked about in the household. And now, if I were a child where I lost my mom, uh, I would I would be going to therapy, and that would have helped me work through some of the attachment issues and the abandonment issues and the fear issues that I struggled with as a kid. So I think going that's where I would go with that. If I were to give a piece of advice, is if your child has lost someone they loved, get them into therapy.
Get them into therapy.
Therapy is not a bad thing. Therapy is actually a really great, safe place for kids to be, and adults for that matter.
Great advice. So, all right, now I'm curious. They have, well, first of all, I'm going to point out this comment here that Adam put in the comments. He said, taking notes from both of you two geniuses. Jeff, fresh off from hitting the big 4-0 and carrying a renowned doctor with life experiences that I can only imagine. I love your upbeat attitude and strength.
Thank you,
And
Adam.
Ben Bruce said, awesome, I feel you. And that's referring to the question you had answered.
Fabulous.
But so I know that there's a bunch of therapy, like telehealth therapy.
Hmm.
Do you see those as the same amount of value as going to an office and laying down on a couch or sitting in a chair and talking? I mean, how do you see that? Like,
Well,
weigh the pros and cons.
yeah. So I've done both, which is kind of funny that you say that. um, so I think when you go into an office and you lay on a couch, to me, that's kind of like a storybook, TV type scenario, right?
Yeah, it could be. I've never been to, well, I've never been to a therapy session like that. So
Sure, sure. Well, I was once and only once because it really didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel real. You know what I mean? Like this kind of conversation, you and I conversing back and forth, is my idea of what therapy is being able to, tell your story, maybe get a little bit of feedback, have questions. And telehealth, there are a lot of people out there that are introverts and they don't do so well on the one-on-one um, meeting in a room. So the telehealth, I think, has been an amazing addition to be able to help a broad spectrum of people that maybe wouldn't have necessarily have gone into therapy if that wasn't available. So
that's awesome. I I didn't know, like, I hadn't asked anybody else what they thought of telehealth before, so that's always great knowledge to have.
yeah, absolutely.
So you were talking a little bit about a book with Kate Butler.
Yeah,
Now that's a name that has come up on this show quite a few times. I I
she's
think she
amazing.
was actually on the show once before too. But so can you tell us a little bit more about that book and what you wrote in that book?
Sure. So the book is called Believe Beyond, and I just wrote a chapter about living fearlessly. Um, not letting fear paralyze you, to be able to accomplish the goals and the dreams that you want to accomplish. Um, I dive in quite a bit about how I was as a mom. I was a helicopter mom, and how that taught me lessons later on, to not hover over my children and to allow them to grow to be the men that they are today. As you can see, they're in the background of my in my office actually.
Well, that is cool. So, when is this book going to be released?
Uh, February of next year.
February of next year. All
Mhm.
right, and now on to the next question. How exactly can somebody get that book if they want to learn a little bit about living fearlessly?
Believe Beyond is the book. I believe it'll be sold on Amazon. It's going to be sold in other areas as well. Stay tuned.
All right. Well, I will comment to Kate as well about getting me an advertisement for that book so I can put it out there
Be
for
great.
you. Now, you said it was called Believe Beyond.
Believe Beyond.
All right. I'm sticking this in the comments. So, in typing isn't necessarily the easiest thing for me. I don't have great control over my extremities, but I'm surviving and I'm
Amen.
making it work the best I can. Um, so do you happen to have any contact information that you would like people to have? Or
Abs-
if they just want to get a hold of you or talk to you or something of that sort?
Absolutely. So my website is drkarensmithdc.com.
Doctor,
No,
Oh,
DrKarenSmith.
so doc, like DR doctor.
Yeah,
All
Dr.
right.
Yep,
And
Dr.
then Karen Smith.
DC.
All right, hang on. Well, we're getting this in the comments, which it will only show up on YouTube, but
Okay.
oh well, that's where I'm putting them. So, all right, Dr. Karen Smith DC.com.
.com.
All
Yep.
right, cool.
And then Healing Hearts and Bodies at gmail.com.
Healing. All right, hang on. Healing hearts and body
Bodies, BODIES.
bodies. All
Yep,
right,
at
at
Gmail.
Gmail.
Yep.
All right. Cool. And then we have Ben Bruce in the comments saying, thank you for your time, Dr. Karen Smith. It was a plum pleasing pleasure.
Well, thank
No,
you.
he didn't say the plum pleasing, but I added that part. He said it was a pleasure. Yeah. So we thank you so much, Karen, for your time this evening. And we I want to say first of all that everybody out there, please subscribe. Don't forget that you can watch this show live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And then directly after it's over, you can watch it on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. So, and please don't forget to subscribe and leave us all kinds of comments, likes, whatever. Just help us trick the algorithm on one of those socials, if not two or three or four or five. But I need everybody out there, including you, Karen, to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of the year. I need you to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. Just one. That's all you get. So we will see you back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, you guys have a fantastic week. Thank you again, Karen. And I'll be talking to you very soon.
Sounds great. Thanks, everybody.